empty slot floors echoing with silence, a boardroom where executives signed bankruptcy papers, and bulldozers rolling toward the Strip at dawn. These properties weren't just struggling businesses, they were financial disasters waiting to collapse. This is where Vegas dreams die, where billion-dollar empires crumble, and where the house finally loses everything. The Las Vegas Strip is flashing red with warning signals that can't be ignored. For decades, these legendary casinos seemed invincible, but their foundations are cracking under unprecedented financial pressure. Let's start with the most glaring issue: declining revenue streams. Properties across Las Vegas are reporting gaming revenue drops between 15 to 30% year over year. These aren't temporary dips. They represent a fundamental shift in how Americans gamble. Convention bookings, once the lifeblood of midweek business, have plummeted 40% from pre-2020 levels. Even restaurant and entertainment venues within these struggling properties are posting mounting losses quarter after quarter. But revenue decline is just the beginning. The debt service problems are where the real crisis emerges. Several major Strip properties are currently carrying more than $500 million each in outstanding bonds. Their interest payments now exceed their operational cash flow, a financial death spiral that can't be sustained. Major credit rating agencies have issued downgrades across multiple properties, making refinancing nearly impossible at manageable rates. Perhaps most telling is the occupancy rate collapse. Properties that once boasted 90% plus occupancy are struggling to fill 60% of their rooms during what should be peak seasons. Average daily rates have fallen to break-even points where the cost of servicing a room barely covers the revenue it generates. Meanwhile, corporate group bookings, the profit engines of weekday business, are shifting to newer properties with updated amenities and infrastructure. These financial warning signs create a perfect storm that even the most established casinos can't weather indefinitely. Beyond individual property struggles, broader market forces are reshaping Las Vegas in ways that will inevitably lead to closures. The Las Vegas Strip is facing severe market oversaturation. There are simply too many properties competing for a shrinking customer base. Online gambling has aggressively cannibalized traditional casino revenue, allowing players to experience the thrill of Vegas from their living rooms. Meanwhile, regional casinos across America have captured local gambling dollars that once flowed to Nevada, offering convenience that Vegas can't match. This oversaturation has turned struggling properties into corporate acquisition targets. Larger operators aren't looking to save these casinos. They're looking to buy distressed properties for land value alone. In many cases, the real estate beneath these iconic casinos is worth more than the operational business itself. Strategic locations are being systematically absorbed by mega corporations with plans that don't include preserving existing brands. Regulatory and tax pressures compound these problems. Nevada has increased gaming taxes, directly reducing already thin profit margins. New compliance costs for aging infrastructure are hitting older properties hardest, requiring investments they simply can't afford. Environmental regulations demand expensive upgrades that make no financial sense for properties already on the brink. The writing is on the wall. Vegas is moving toward fewer, larger operations controlled by a handful of corporate entities. Using a comprehensive analysis framework that examines financial performance metrics from public filings, operational indicators from industry reports, and market position relative to competitors, we've identified the 5 properties most likely to close in 2026. First, there's the aging off-strip property whose parent company has been quietly selling assets and laying off staff for 3 consecutive quarters. Their publicly available SEC filings reveal a property carrying $780 million in debt, with a bond maturity cliff approaching in early 2026. Multiple refinancing attempts have failed as credit agencies downgraded their debt to junk status. Second, we see the mid-strip legacy casino whose occupancy rates haven't broken 55% in over a year. Their recent quarterly report showed gaming revenue down 27%, while maintenance costs skyrocketed due to aging infrastructure. Their parent company has already divested from 3 similar properties in regional markets, following a pattern that suggests this Vegas location is next. Third, the once trendy boutique casino that opened to great fanfare has found itself trapped in a financial nightmare. Their lease agreement with the property's real estate investment trust expires in late 2025, and renewal negotiations have stalled. Staff reductions and restaurant closures within the property suggest management is already preparing for shutdown. Fourth, the North Strip property that's been promising renovations for years while continuously deferring maintenance. Recent bankruptcy protection filings revealed they've been operating at a loss for 7 consecutive quarters. Their location, once considered disadvantageous, has ironically become their most valuable asset as developers eye the parcel for future projects. Fifth, the family-owned landmark, whose owners have rejected multiple acquisition offers, is finally succumbing to financial reality. Their private holding company recently brought in restructuring consultants, and suppliers report payment delays stretching to 90 days or more, a classic sign of severe cash flow problems. These properties share common timeline indicators: imminent lease expirations, bond maturity schedules without viable refinancing options, and subtle but telling ownership maneuvers that suggest preparation for closure. Behind these cold financial calculations lies a devastating human impact. These 5 properties collectively employ over 8,500 people: dealers, housekeepers, chefs, security personnel, and management staff whose livelihoods will vanish when these casinos close. Many of these employees have dedicated decades to these properties, building careers and pension expectations that are now in jeopardy. Union representatives are already preparing for mass displacement of workers in a job market that simply cannot absorb them all at once. The community consequences extend far beyond direct employment. Clark County stands to lose tens of millions in annual tax revenue from these 5 properties alone. The supplier and vendor ecosystem that services these casinos, from food distributors to linen services to maintenance contractors, will face devastating business disruptions. For every casino job lost, economists estimate approximately 1.8 additional jobs disappear from the broader tourism ecosystem. Investor losses will be equally staggering. Shareholder equity in these struggling properties has already begun evaporating as market values plummet in anticipation of closure announcements. Bondholders face potential defaults that could trigger wider financial contagion. Real estate investment trusts with significant exposure to these properties are already adjusting their dividend guidance downward. The closures won't be clean, quick, or painless. They'll represent years of uncertain futures for thousands of Las Vegas families. These impending closures aren't just isolated business failures. They represent a fundamental transformation of the Las Vegas Strip. We're witnessing a shift toward fewer, larger mega resorts that combine gaming, entertainment, dining, and convention space under single corporate umbrellas. The future Vegas will feature increased focus on non-gaming amenities as operators acknowledge that gambling alone can't sustain their business models. Technology integration is rapidly replacing traditional gaming experiences, with automated systems reducing staff requirements and changing how visitors interact with these properties. Market consolidation will have profound effects on the visitor experience. Reduced competition will inevitably lead to higher prices across accommodations, dining, and entertainment. We're already seeing standardization of casino experiences as corporate operators implement identical procedures across their portfolios. Perhaps most concerning is the potential loss of unique property personalities that have defined Las Vegas for generations. Industry experts are divided on long-term forecasts, but most agree on certain fundamentals. The 2026 to 2030 period will see at least 5 major property closures, followed by either dramatic repurposing or complete demolition. The land beneath these struggling casinos will likely become home to next-generation developments combining residential, retail, and entertainment components with less emphasis on gaming floors. Economic impact projections suggest a temporary contraction followed by stabilization as the market right-sizes. The Las Vegas that emerges will be more corporate, more technology-focused, and potentially less accessible to the middle-class visitors who built its reputation. The writing's on the wall, and the numbers don't lie. These 5 properties represent more than business failures. They're symbols of an industry in transition. As an insider who's watched Vegas evolve for years, I can tell you this consolidation was inevitable. The question isn't if these closures will happen, but how the Strip will rebuild from the wreckage.